Here's your clicker, go.
Excellent, thanks. Let's start the clock. Who's heard of FlashVote? Perfect, 2 people. That's why I'm here, because there's a few more than 2 people here. All right, so Kevin at FlashVote. I'll be at the booth, manning the booth. Here we go. Your guess. What percentage of the time, this is how we explain FlashVote, do you think your public input sentiment matches your public? Ooh, 0. We get a 0. Anyone above 0? 8%. Okay, cool. So it turns out that when I ask this question of professionals, they're pretty right. 5% is what we see looking at our data. 25% of the time the public input's exaggerated. 70% of the time it's the opposite of what the public actually thinks. Is that horrifying? Yeah, it's funny, it's horrifying. it's your pain. Okay, so here's part 2. How often do you think your elected officials believe public input is the public? A lot of laughter. Yeah, someone at Capio said 105%, which is not correct, but it is directionally correct. Okay, so there's a great speaker on social media law who says, if you think social media is a good representation of the public, you are too drunk to drive. Unfortunately, it also applies to meetings and online surveys and everything else where people can self-select to give input. So the reality of that question is 97% of governments have had their decisions influenced by those noisy voices. Am I kicking bad, painful feet, scratching scabs? It's terrible, right? It's our pain. All right, so what's going on? Keanu could not be here today to explain, so I'm going to give it a real quick time. This is your community, right? Who do you hear from? The haters. All right, or the edges, right? Exactly. So what does that mean? Well, this is our unofficial mascot. You may recognize him from your own meetings. Maybe this fine couple, delightful folks. They're really into CRT and masks and things like that. Ringing a bell? Okay. So it feels like this though, right? I mean, it feels like they're the tip of the iceberg. But couldn't they also be this? Couldn't they also just be the only 100% of those people on one side of an issue? It feels like this though. When I became a public official, I did it because I'm a masochist and I wanted to experience this firsthand, getting yelled at by 11 people in a room and have them go, 10 of us are on the same side. I'm supposed to think about it, but emotionally you react. So you need the hiss, right? Hear from the public as a whole, the parents as a whole, maybe the staff as a whole, scientific representative samples. Okay, so one quick example from a park. They changed their budgets, nothing but complaints. This is what it felt like. These are the people that were calling them, emailing them, showing up. This is what the survey said. They were hearing from 0.3% of the people who thought things were terrible. Morale improved overnight. School sex ed, not a really hot topic, right? No? Good experience of that, I'm sure. So they put out the questionnaire on SurveyMonkey. This is what they got back. You know what the opposite of a bell curve is? This. All those people on the edges, right? I saw the people put their hands out and point to the edges. This is what the data looks like. What was the reality? Right? People hate it. People love it. A little uncomfortable to love it that much. 90% support on average. All cool. Go ahead. Full speed ahead, right? Let's roll. That's what good data does for you. So think of FlashVote as the painkiller. Okay? Pretty simple. We've made scientific surveys. We've invested millions and years of testing to make them 90% faster, cheaper, easier, and we're fun to work with. So better data even. Statistically valid input, 48 hours, whenever you want throughout the year. You make great decisions informed with great data. Who doesn't want that, right? Or you can just let the noisy people steer your boat, which is really not fun for everybody. So I think someone's here from Arkansas City, is that right? Yeah, very cool. That's how you know about us. Awesome. And we're now in 24 states, work with cities, counties, school districts, special districts across the country, growing fast, and would love to work with some schools in Kansas if you guys are up for it. Let me know. I'll be at the booth. Thank you. All right. Thank you.